This is a money grab by
Oh,
FIFA. This is
absolutely.
absolutely, they know that they're going to double their money or triple their money. So they don't give a damn about the players, and they don't give a damn about qualifying, and they don't care about MLS, USL, or any other league around the world that plays soccer. As far as they're concerned, you and I both know that this is a grab saying, we're FIFA, we're the World Cup, you'll do what we say, screw you, and that's the end of the day. Because they know how much power they have, Bruce.
It's going to be interesting to see what the other leagues have to say about this. Because I got to believe that a majority of the heads of the leagues from around the world are going to have a very, very similar feeling that Don Garber has. It's one thing to have an international break for different tournaments. Now, if you start to mix in World Cup every 2 years, how is that going to play into the schedule? Remember, here's one of the other interesting parts in all of this, Ed. The United States plays on a different soccer schedule than just about every other country in the world because we play on a different schedule. We play basically on our schedule where we go from February, March until November, December. Most other countries, most other soccer leagues go from starting in one calendar year and going to another. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this whole thing gets fleshed out. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to work. Ultimately, I think we'll stay at every 4 years.
But let's look at this because we're starting to expand this a little bit from the original conversation, but it's all the pieces we have to talk about here. If FIFA says we're going to have the World Cup every 2 years, what possibly could the MLS, the USL, any European league, what could they do? To my
You know, I
response, the answer is nothing because FIFA will say our way, highway. That's it.
So we talked about from the domestic league standpoint. It's going to be interesting to see what leagues around the country, or I'm sorry, around the world have to say about this. But one other thing really comes into mind is what are the individual member countries of FIFA going to say and do about this particular situation?
Nothing.
Are they set up to play every 2 years? It means that there needs to be a lot more hosts that can host a tournament of this magnitude every 2 years. There's a
Sure.
reason why the Olympics are every 4 years because it takes time to set them up and run them.
Well,
And
but
so,
look
in
at but
some
look at it
cases,
this way.
build for.
It's part of the graft-ridden scenario that FIFA has in the first place because the Olympics are just as bad because the IOC forces local areas, communities, countries to create facilities that in 5 years are completely obsolete, that are not used, that are destroying tax bases. Look what they did in Brazil for crying out loud, where they were destroying families and lives, and everybody lays out billions
That
of
was going to be my
dollars.
next point.
The IOC makes a tremendous amount of money. FIFA's going to say, we really don't care. Look, we'll go ahead and we'll do it every 2 years. You got to be ready. All you have to do is start planning out in advance, do it 8 years in advance, and you're all set. Because when the World Cup is played, FIFA bolts. They don't care because they don't have to pay that kind of money, Bruce. So I don't see
No, no, no.
where that.
Like I said, that's
Yeah,
why I brought up. That's why I brought up what these member countries are going to
it's a
say
con
about
job.
all of this.
Well, but look, but wait a minute. I'll play devil's advocate. Other countries are going to say, "Oh, wow, gee, we don't have to wait 4 years now. I mean, we can get it in 2 years, and then there's another, and maybe we can come back in 10 years instead of 12 years, and we've got all these wonderful facilities." You know how these people think. They're not going to think at all one bit about what it's going to do to the economic base of the country or the region. We're hosting a World Cup. We got more
Let me flip the
games. We got
script.
more money to make.
Let me flip the script on this a little bit.
Sure.
If they go to every 2 years, do you think that is going to make soccer more popular or less popular around the world?
To be honest, off the top of my head, I don't know. But if you pressed me, I would say more popular because the World Cup draws the world. Everybody is watching, and you're going to have more countries that are going to say, "Well, now we have a greater chance to be in it. We had to wait 4 years. Well, our top two players are now 20, 25 years of age. We don't have to wait for them to be 23 and 27. We've got great players now. Let's move." The women's team would also do the same thing. They would say, "We've got players here. We've got great players. We don't have to wait." I think that the players, in essence, would love it. I think the fans would love it. But we both know that this would destroy a lot of leagues and teams that are sitting on the ground going, so what? We have to give you our players now again?